Welcome back to Softcore History. I'm your host for the week, Dan Regester, and I'm joined as always by Rob Fox.
Hello.
And for the time being, Jake Goldman.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of time.
Counting down the days till you're fucking gone, dude.
That's right, baby.
So we're making that money. We gave ourselves a raise.
Yeah.
We incepted you with
It's
oyster
addition,
farming, actually. We're like, how do we get Jake out of here? And we went to the good people at Inception Inc. and made you how to dream about oyster farming.
Are you saying you just put a couple $100 into Facebook and targeted ads?
Yes, that's Inception now.
Yeah, that is Inception. Yeah, no, for sure. That definitely worked then. Yeah, it's addition by subtraction. I'm actually giving you guys an unbirthday gift. By the way, we were recording a day late today.
Because Rob had a tummy
Rob
ache.
had a tummy ache, and he's making me work on my fucking birthday.
His fucking birthday, which I forgot about.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't text you on your birthday.
I know. A lot of people didn't.
We just
I
wanted to be
I
with
wrote
you.
down names.
Apparently,
I will ruin your life now.
I know someone that found an old book in like elderly relative's house, and it was just like a notebook of who didn't say thank you for gifts. And it was like that. I love that level of pettiness. That like
That's-
they just kept a log for decades.
My mom always tried to teach me the importance of a thank you note. Never did them.
I remember writing a shit ton of thank you notes for my wedding and showers and shit like that, and that was fine because I didn't care. But as a child, after a birthday or Christmas, the thank you, I would be sitting there writing thank you notes and just be like, I don't know if the presents were worth it.
After my bar mitzvah, I did that, and it was like hours of thank you notes.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm a this is a scumbag move. We never sent out thank you notes after my wedding.
Yeah, I know.
I know. You know. Yeah. You know what? You're welcome for having a party.
I never got
At my
Rob a
place.
gift, actually, for his wedding, as I overdrafted my account to go to his wedding.
That was
We'll
the gift.
just call the job the gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome for your life.
Yeah.
Your livelihood. Anyway, write us a thank you note by subscribing to our Patreon, patreon.com/softcorehistory.
It's where
Yeah.
the big bucks.
2 additional episodes every week, one like this, a normal episode, and then another that's a little bit more user intuitive. We have like voicemail episodes, watch-alongs,
Game shows.
You can play along with us. And sometimes we might just hit you with a third episode that week.
Or you can join the Patreon for Shuck It, Baby, Shuck It.
No,
the new
Jake's new.
warring podcast. No, I'm kidding.
when the great podcast wars.
The
yes.
great
Stay tuned for episode 2. What have I done?
My hands are bleeding. I have Vibrio, and I'm dying. My skin's melting.
But if this is your first time joining the podcast, since I am really trying to juice that sweet, sweet SEO this week, because in the news, I don't know if it's really in your guys' feed, but
Did you hear about this?
Assassin's Creed announced that they were going to Japan for the new game. And
This was a big deal for a minute.
bit of a hot button topic. One of the main protagonists, there's 2. One's a female Japanese girl. Cool, chill. Kind of like stealthy ninja. The other, the brute, one of the few black men in feudal Japan.
Hold on real quick before we get into the black part. Is that how the dichotomy of Assassin's Creed always is? There's like a brute and a sneaky one?
Typically, they combine it. There's
Okay.
usually one main character. Sometimes there's 2. It
I've
really
never played.
depends. The last game they tried to go back to the stealth routes. So Mirage was more hide in and quick assassinations, not really being too violent.
Not a hack and slash?
Valhalla, the Viking one, of course, was the brute version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right.
I
mean, it's a bit
appreciate-
racist to make it that. Like, there's no sneaky Vikings, but...
We're already throwing around the R word. Oh, no.
Look, might as well just get it out of the way.
Yeah. I actually love. I'm surprised I've never played these games. I love in like Skyrim. I always sneak and shoot people from very far away, so I don't have to.
Sounds
deal.
like you.
Yeah,
I would actually be a brute in Skyrim.
and just run up.
I had a thing against elves.
I like that. Elves were annoying. in
Whenever I
Skyrim.
saw an elf, I had to kill it.
Yeah, I didn't like elves in that game either.
I didn't play it.
I also like Skyrim because like first 20 minutes of that game, I killed like these people at a horse stable. And I came back like 4 days later after playing. I was like, oh, they're still just dead in there.
I was a closeted Skyrim player. As the majority
Really?
of the fraternity house was playing it, I would make fun of them in front of my girlfriend, my then girlfriend, and then I would play it in shame.
You'd be like,
With my
fuck
door
you,
closed.
bitch. Fuck you, you gaylords. I'm going to go play Madden and fuck my girlfriend. Then your girlfriend will leave, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to kill an elf.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have a
hate
high-
elves. Your magic does not make me filled with fear.
Exactly. But I would justify it by killing those elves and the magical
You were
creatures.
pretending to kill people who played
I would just be a
Skyrim.
giant, like, Viking brute.
It's cool that you project within the game and in real life.
You have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Just
good.
be consistent.
Absolutely.
My only experience with Assassin's Creed is A, the terrible movie.
Bad
And
movie.
And B, I remember the first one came out when I was in college, and sometimes I would just like be stoned and watching like my buddies play it as I was just
Fun
sitting
game to
around.
watch.
Yeah, it's a good watch game.
First time they've actually done a real character as the main character. Typically, they sprinkle in
The
you
black
know-
dude.
Yeah. So Yasuke, that's the episode today. Is on Yasuke. He's the main character, or one of the main characters in the new Assassin's Creed. But for the majority of the series, actually the entire series, it's been a fictional character that interacts with real people throughout history.
Right.
They're usually NPCs. Yasuke here, though, you're going to be able to play as him, which, you know what, I'm kind of down with. It's going to be chill.
It's controversial though.
It's going to be dope. It gets the people going.
Yeah, but like people are like pissed about it. Too. There's like a big argument about
On both ends, right?
Yeah.
It's like, the first, Asian Assassin's Creed, and they put a black man in it.
It's essentially just a hilarious like 360 firing squad of intersectionality.
Right.
Because no one who normally cares about this stuff, like, I mean, they might care about the girl. Like, all right, let's just put it this way. The Gamergate right-wing types don't care about this either way.
No.
Because now it's not a white guy, basically. Like, it's not like a game in the American Revolution, and you play like as a black woman who fights on the side, fights against the British or something like that. And
The
it's like,
problem,
dude,
though,
why
is
can't I just
the
be
other side where they're like, oh, you guys wouldn't say anything if it was a white character. It's like, well, the majority of the characters in Assassin's Creed have been non-white.
Yeah.
Like,
They do a good
there's,
job.
I mean, my favorite character is Bayek, who's Egyptian.
When was he from? Is that from the ancient one?
No, he's Origin, so he's the Egyptian one.
Yeah.
Bayek.
Hmm.
And he was the best voice actor by far.
Yeah, that's real hit or miss in video games.
First assassin, Altair or whatever, Altair, not white,
Yeah, it was
Middle
a
Eastern.
Arabic dude, yeah.
Mirage, Middle Eastern. I think some people have the problem with feudal Japan, and you're with a black guy.
But the only
Though,
people
like,
who are
one
mad,
black guy.
you literally take out half the site, because the only people who are mad are sort of like left-wing people. Because normally it's left-wing versus right-wing, right? But now, I mean, the right wing doesn't care because it's Asian and black. Like, they're like, I guess whatever, dude. A black guy in Asia, an Asian guy in Africa, it doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah.
the left wing is like, no, you got it wrong again. Blah, 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 blah. And the other half is just like, I'll just watch.
I think the
This'll
thing
be
that's
fun.
the most interesting is like people arguing whether or not he really was even a samurai or like what his like status was.
And that's what we'll find out today.
Nice. Okay.
Today's episode's called Was Yasuke a Samurai?
Okay.
Really try to dig in and get those new views, those rage clicks.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So was he a samurai? Was he a glorified squire? Or was he just a man who had an incredibly odd fish out of water experience for a few years in Japan? So the rank of samurai, we'll just kind of cover that first, came with a salary, land, food, servants, and the ultimate perk, the unchecked ability to murder anyone below your noble status.
Sweet.
That's
Sweet.
a lot of power.
Look, sometimes it's good. It's fun if you have a bad day, right?
Can you imagine if you got like promoted to like a director and it's like, oh, by the
And?
way, you can kill anybody. Like,
I mean, you know, if you're the president, you get to kill somebody.
you do
You're going to order the death of somebody, probably within the first week of your job.
from
First
a
day.
drone.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, click the button,
They're
man.
like, Mr. President, we have some drone strikes for you to sign. You're like, oh, God, I'm fucking putting notches in my bedpost day one, huh?
Yeah, and then you're going to learn about the aliens
Yeah.
right after this.
Well, it was
meeting.
actually in their laws, right? So it was called Kirasute Gamen. It was the authorization to cut and leave the body of anyone who dishonored you without any consequences.
There are harsher laws about doing that with deer in the United States today.
Yep.
Like, you have to take it with you.
Can't take it across state lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there were a few stipulations, okay? The strike had to come in the heat of the moment. You couldn't really hold a grudge for days or weeks and be like, you know what, I'm going to cut that man down.
Oh, so they only had to commit a petty violation against you, and you had to react immediately.
So it behooves you to be unreasonable and just reactive.
Yeah. You can't act like if someone cuts you off in traffic or does something stupid on the road, you have to kill them right there.
Yeah.
You can't write down their license plate.
Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just react.
It can't be premeditated.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to
It
be
has to
second-degree murder.
Yeah. Second-degree murder, cool. First degree, what the fuck, man? You could have killed
too
him right
psychotic,
then.
yeah.
There were a few professions that were exempt while at work. Doctors and midwives.
That makes sense.
Because it was needed for them to be able to push boundaries during their job.
Yeah.
But off the clock, on site.
Yeah. So essentially, you could be mad at a doctor or a midwife, but you can't do anything there, and then you can just go walk around later and bump into them,
Oops.
and be like, "Hey!" And then you're
Well, if I were a doctor, I would just always be on call. It's like, I'm working, buddy.
yeah.
The samurai then had to report the incident to a government official and expected to spend the next 20 days at home as proof of remorse for his actions.
Now that is where they keep you from doing it. The red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta chill for 20 days after I murder someone.
And you got to
Boo.
inform the government of it and stuff like that. I mean, it's like if murder was legal, but you fucking had to go to the DMV right after, I don't think it'd go up that much.
Mm-mm.
No.
You
Not
have to
as
go
much
through
as
all
you'd
these
think.
like bureaucratic hoops. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta do 6 forms, 3 in duplicate. Like,
Think how many people cops don't shoot
because of the
that.
paperwork. Yeah. No,
I'm
honestly,
fucking serious.
every time you discharge your weapon, dude,
Yeah.
you're supposed to file.
Every bullet, piece
Yeah.
of paper.
And they shoot a fair amount of people.
They do.
I guarantee you that paperwork keeps bullets in the chambers.
Yeah, for each one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no way it wouldn't be more.
Honestly, that's the solution. Add more paperwork.
Yeah.
Like anytime.
Make
like,
someone's life an inconvenience. They'll never do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, God, I gotta do that again.
Yeah.
No thanks. Occasionally, the murder weapon would be taken away for those 20 days. Not always, but sometimes if they had to do
They
a
got
little
on desk work.
investigating.
Is this just a cop? You could put on desk duty while they
Feudal Japanese cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that said, samurai had such high status, their word was pretty much taken as gospel, and they had carte blanche to do whatever they wanted against the lower class.
He's silent.
Nah, it's blanche, dude.
That's not what he's talking about. Yeah, it's okay. You didn't have to do that.
Why not? That's a word in common usage.
You know what? That's something.
That's
y'all
not a
could-
random Arabic name.
No, that's how I say it, though.
Carte blanche.
Actually, that's a pretty sick, like French character name.
Carte blanche.
Yeah.
It's like a good prostitute.
Or like a Bond villain.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
What about cartel blanche?
Cartel Blanche is a good name too. Cartel's a
Sad
terrible
deal.
first name, but
I think that a good like World War II prostitute, like World War II era Parisian prostitute name would be Blanche Carte.
Blanche Cartel.
Yeah. I read an awesome stat on hookers and World War II in World War II in Paris that I'm gonna save for my own episode because it was just stunning. So teaser for 2 weeks from now.
Oh, I'll have to tune
Stay
in.
tuned.
Yeah, you have to tune in.
Yeah.
Given this ability to roam feudal Japan as essentially untouchable gangsters, the title of samurai was only given to a handful of outsiders. Most notably, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Was it given to him?
Well, he's based off like a French commander.
Yeah.
He's not a real character in The Last Samurai, but he is based off, I believe, 2 French commanders that both were honored with samurai titles.
Okay. Also, I think Tom Cruise is not the last samurai.
No,
Ken Watanabe's character is the last samurai that they reference.
and he's literally there to fight. Like his role makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being a particularly good movie. It's been a while since.
Oh,
I've
I
seen
liked it. I thought it was a great movie.
Never saw it.
Okay, maybe we'll do a watch along.
It actually was low key, like a pretty good representation of, like the one battle scene in the forest in particular, like not the worst representation of like line and shoot fighting.
That's cool. That's cool.
Just bring in the cannons.
Yeah.
I love a good splintering wood in the forest fight scene.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, anytime trees are splintering,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is good. This is good television.
Now-
Good film.
On the Yasuke,
Yes.
we aren't exactly sure where he came from, as there's conflicting reports on how he got to Japan, and we do not know his original name. One states that He came with an Italian missionary from the Portuguese East Africa, which is now Mozambique.
What year is this?
This is 1570s, 1580s.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot of things, a lot of outsiders in Japan other than the Portuguese. We have this Italian missionaries. You know, people are dipping a toe in Japan, but there's not too many.
Yeah.
It's still pretty, like, they're opening up trade, but it's still kind of like,
They're
With the
pretty
Portuguese,
closed
thanks
off.
to the
There was-
Portuguese.
yeah, they're reserved.
If
I
you
mean-
watch Shogun, it's
Right,
kind
right.
of a representation of this time.
It didn't
Yeah.
really start until Matthew Chandler Bing Perry opened up the island of Japan, just took like one warship in there and was like, yeah, no, you're not closed off anymore.
Yeah, it's open.
I forget. It was like it might have been during the Civil War, like right before or right after it. But it's just funny that he's named Matthew Perry.
So some believe Yasuke was from Mozambique. Others believe he's from Africa, African roots, but he was caught and captured and traded as a slave in India. Either way, most of the information available that mentions Yasuke was written nearly half a century after the last documented evidence of his existence. So he is documented and he did exist.
Yeah, he's like
but
Jesus.
most of the things that were written about him were half a century later, a century later,
Yeah, just like Jesus.
just like Jesus.
Yeah, Black Samurai Jesus.
If he's East African, the Portuguese could have grabbed him, or any number of Arab, like, because the Arab slave trade snatched from East Africa.
I gotta say, Africa, as far as country names go, like the coolness of the country name is directly inverse of like the quality of life.
Yeah.
Like Sierra Leone, Mozambique, like beautiful country names. And then you're just like, oh,
Maybe not the best country.
not the best country.
You got to cover up with good branding.
Yeah, but dude, Mozambique, that sounds like a luxury brand.
Portuguese East Africa, too. A little too wordy.
That is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. Yeah.
PEA? Your name's P?
So Yasuke was captured by the Portuguese in the 1570s and sold to an Italian Jesuit priest, Alessandro Valignano.
Good
Can
for
you
that
thinking
priest.
of a more Italian name?
No.
Alessandro
Giuseppe.
Valignano.
Yeah.
Valignano required that anyone going on his missionary trips study for at least 2 years and learned the native language and customs of where they were going to easily assimilate and make spreading the word of God as painless as possible.
Man, just speak English.
Let's break down some physical features of Yasuke and why he may be a problem in the game.
We're about to get some draft combine measurements.
Yeah.
Man had a fucking 8-foot wingspan.
Ran a 4.3 40.
Like he should be unbeatable in this game.
Just fucking go berserk, dude.
I'm trying to think of it's like LeBron James, right? He's like a LeBron James build, just like,
Yeah, if you drop LeBron James in the 30s.
and give him a sword.
Like, all right, so
You're a block away getting hacked up, dude.
he was listed from anywhere between 6 to 6'5",
6 foot would be huge still.
because the average pint-sized Japanese person at the time, 5 foot.
Yeah.
He had at least a foot on every single person he
If he's
encountered.
6'5", I mean,
It's a fucking tower, dude.
that's a giant.
Yeah.
Being the darkest and tallest dude on the island, Yasuke stood out immediately when they made port, towering over, like I said, these little Japanese people of the 16th century who were at max 5 feet tall.
I mean, I might have told this story on the show before, but I have a buddy who his dad was like a CEO at what's the big garage door company? Not Michelin. It's like a Genie, I think. Genie Garage
Oh,
Doors.
yeah.
He was like a
Who
CEO.
could forget?
Yeah, well, everybody's got a Genie. You know, it's a
I
Genie.
don't have a garage, Rob.
I do.
I still rent.
Yeah, I could tell that's a Genie. You know, like
Yeah.
somebody opens your garage door and you're like, "Hey, Jim, is that a Genie?" You know it is. You guys don't have neighbors? I don't.
I don't live in
No, but anyway,
that
he was
much
in Japan for some business trip, and he got on an elevator. He's like 6'4". He's a big guy, but 6'4", and like this little girl like hid behind her mom on the elevator, and he's like, "Is something?" And she's like staring at him, and she's just like, "I'm sorry, you're the biggest human being she's ever seen." And this was in like the 90s.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's like if you've watched Fallout, Moises, what's his name, next to the other guy. Like, do you know what I'm talking? The ladies.
Explain the characters. I have no idea who the fucking actors are.
Oh, the brother of the main character lady is like 5'1" in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the guy he's standing next to is 6'5".
Yeah.
There's a literal there's an on-screen portrayal of what
I
that
actually
would
know
look
the
like.
one actor's name because it's Regester.
Yeah, that's right. It is
Yeah,
Regester.
it's like
The tall
Dave
guy is
Regester.
Regester,
Yeah.
and the other guy's like Moises whatever, and the one guy's 5'1" next to a 6'5" guy. If you look at them side by side, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, any normal person next to Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's probably a better reference.
sure.
More
This
Going-
is more for you guys.
No, we're going for
Crowd.
SEO.
Yeah.
We're going for SEO. We got to talk about
Fallout,
current
the
shit.
show.
Fallout.
Walton Goggins.
yeah, the video game episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also apparently, jacked because he was at the time a slave.
Yeah, I
But
feel
like
weird.
a physical labor slave
Yeah.
or like a manservant? Because he's with the priest,
Yeah, but
but he got him from somewhere else.
Yeah.
he's doing stuff.
I guess.
And he's on a ship to Japan. I'm sure they have him working the boats.
yeah,
especially
he's not just like.
if he is a squire type too. I mean, like he's lugging shit around.
Not a squire yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's hauling luggage, he's got like, what's the slave equivalent of like dad strength? Slave strength.
Bellhop strength.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like he can just throw those suitcases right over your.
Yeah, and you're right. Like I'm sure. First off, I don't know how it was for them, but in the American South, slaves were rented out all the time.
Yeah.
Like it was like a thing where either the slave can make money on it, and obviously the owners of the slaves would make money on it. They'd be like, "I got nothing for you to do Tuesday and Wednesday, so I rented you out to, the mill, or whatever." So it wouldn't surprise me if the priest to maybe get some funds or something. I don't know how slavery worked with that particular situation, but it was just like, yeah, to get passage on the ship, you have to work.
I wouldn't even prerequisite that you don't know. Just be confident about it. Like just talk
Sure.
like nonchalantly, like you know
Yeah.
everything about slavery.
Here's the
That's
thing.
gonna work better.
I believe such a low percentage of the U.S. population actually owned a slave.
It was really low. And also, there was like a weird situation too. Not weird, but like slaves, if they did have off days and the fucking masters didn't care, like they would be like, okay, you can just go work for money. I get a cut. But the slaves, there are a lot of slaves who bought their freedom. Not like a ton, but like there was not insignificant plurality.
Non-zero.
Yeah, that would be able to work on off days. I think maybe their owner got a cut, but like they would keep most, if not all of it, and they could eventually like buy their freedom. Which,
There
by
was
the
definitely more examples of that than a black samurai.
way, yes,
I think there's just one of those.
yeah, and
Potentially, and that
and
might
it-
not even have.
there were
been
four.
a samurai.
There were four slaves that did that in America. So 4 times.
So
4X.
Yeah.
Yasuke, super jacked. He had an imposing physique that both terrified and intrigued locals.
The giant shadow is here. I gotta imagine the flowery language about this man in old documents is interesting.
Not to mention, when he first comes to town, he's riding a horse.
Oh no!
So he's the biggest man alive.
They must have just thought he was a centaur.
And by the way, did he need a bigger horse? Is like everyone on a normal horse, and he's on some fucking Clydesdale that's just like.
He's on Secretariat.
Yeah.
just fucking just clop, clop, clop. Oh my god, that would be terrifying. That's like when the fucking people saw the elephants.
Or just
Come over.
Django on his horse.
Or
Yeah.
when the fucking Mayans
What's
and
he doing
Aztecs,
on there?
The Aztecs, what?
when the Aztecs saw the Spanish cavalry and they thought they were centaurs.
Yeah, no, that's what
They
I'm
thought
saying.
that
Like,
men were connected to the horses.
yeah, it's like, dear God,
Like, I surrender.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
you
but
got
I-
it. All you.
There are stories of people literally dying in crowds, being crushed to death, just to get a glimpse of this Mocha Adonis.
Ooh, Mocha Adonis.
Mhm.
Nice.
I like that's what you react to.
Yeah.
Not
Ooh.
not people crushing themselves.
People
to death.
get crushed all the
true.
time. Like, if we got excited about people getting crushed, like we'd be talking about who.
Think about all the bridge openings that we've talked about where people died because there was too many people.
bridge
just get
opening.
excited.
Oh, you mean when they were standing on the bridge and someone was like, "The bridge isn't working."
we got to get off of it. Like,
It's like it's actually doing its job.
Like I think
I think it's fine.
if it wasn't working,
I'm
you
sorry.
would know.
That's the funniest mass death in human history. Like if you had to rank one, it's just a bunch of people standing on a bridge and someone being like, "It's not working."
I almost witnessed a funny one in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, where midnight happened and we were on Canal Street and the fireworks started going off and everyone ran screaming because it's Canal Street. They
Yeah.
thought it was guns. They forgot what day it was.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, cool.
But also, what's interesting about this is that this is he's just the original Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Getting crowds whipped up, crushing each other.
Yeah, it's just Astroworld.
I've said for years, it is super inappropriate to bring your 6-year-old to the unveiling of a black man in Japan.
Yeah.
Or a Travis Scott concert.
So they would get crushed in crowds trying to watch or just like look at this guy in amazement. They would also break down doors of establishments where he was staying just to look at him.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Imagine somebody just kicking your door in and just
Looking at
just
you.
glaring at you.
I'll tell you what, can't be fun.
Which, by the way, though, like we know he's fine, but like, do they? Like, do they know he's safe? They seem to think he's some sort of spectacle, a giant, probably dangerous man in their mind. So, like, why would you kick in the cage of a tiger to see it? What was that giant cat? A giant cat? I never heard of that before.
Kick it in, dude.
Yasuke got the attention of Oda Nobunaga, the man responsible for unifying Japan, and he was just kind of like a pretty big warlord at the time. Nobunaga was captivated by his dark-skinned stranger that was causing such a ruckus in town and was insistent that he finally meet him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you're the most powerful political figure in a country. Someone comes up to you and they're like, "Sir, there's some sort of god here.
Yeah.
He's giant and has dark skin, and people are killing each other just to see him. Does this interest you as someone who currently maintains power in the country?"
We watched him lift a barrel of sake over his head, and it's just like, you wouldn't believe it, man.
Upon meeting Yasuke, Nobunaga ordered his men to intensely scrub his skin with brushes to prove he was in fact that dark, and it wasn't a ruse using charcoal or ash.
Couldn't have been comfortable.
Scrub.
Or it was pretty hot.
He was the cleanest man alive.
True. They do like their showers in feudal Japan.
I mean, if you're going to go back during that time, you want to go to one of the Asian countries where they practiced hygiene.
Like, hardcore.
Hardcore.
Yeah, they did it daily. Like, they showered all the time. Or bathed, rather. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seems clean. I'm sure parts of Han China and
Of all the...
were
Honestly,
that way too, but I don't know, actually.
if there was a time in the 1500s to go back to, or a place, right, it
It's
probably
Japan.
is Japan. Yeah, it's not going to smell as bad.
As long as you can just hang out. Like, I guess it's just like, hey, put me... Like, I wouldn't want to go back as my current self just and be like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
But, like, if I could be like, hey, put me in a Japanese guy's body and let me go hang out.
Kind of like mod mode. You
Yeah,
know,
but
you're
also,
just
like,
yeah,
you know-
you need to be an avatar.
Yeah.
Don't say the wrong thing around certain individuals or they cut you in half.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're
I have
just
very little desire to go back. Like, if I could, like, walk around as, like, an invisible...
like sandbox mode.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're not like in it, but you're just like observing. Yeah.
March 23rd, 1581. We have a document that talks about this meeting in the Lord Nobunaga Chronicle. A black page came from the Christian countries. He looked about 26, 24, or 25 by Western count. I guess they have a different
They do
years.
They do have a different aging system. I think in Korea they still, the day you are born, you are 1 year old, I believe.
I hate that.
But you haven't been alive for 1 year.
Well, you're in year one.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Is that why they have a longer life expectancy?
Yeah, I don't think
Are
it's
Are they juicing their numbers?
by 1 year. No, it's not by
That's a big amount.
1 year, but it's more than that. Is what I'm saying. It's walking. It's just walking. They
I
walk.
think they're juicing their numbers.
No, we are like the least walking country.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He was black like an ox. The man was healthy and good looking. Moreover, his strength was greater than that of 10 men.
This guy sounds like he has a crush on him.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're so hot and strong.
Nobunaga's nephew gave him a sum of money at this first meeting. Don't know why they documented that.
Hey man, you're big and strong. Here's some
Here you go.
cash.
He's the first OnlyFans model.
Kind of. Like, let us scrub you, and then
That
we'll
honestly
give you money.
happens to women all the time now in America. Oh, you're so hot. Let me just
You want to
give you stuff.
You want to go on a vacation with
Yeah.
me?
He had a sugar daddy.
Yeah. The amount of chicks
Drop that Amazon wish list.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen some people that go on some extravagant vacations. I'm sure they, make money.
I'm
Yeah,
tired
but you
of-
got to do a lot of terrible things to get to Dubai.
You don't go to
Dubai, yes. There's several people I follow on Instagram, one of whom we know, and I'm just like, I don't know what you do for a living.
Is it the one that took photos out front of Auschwitz?
Yes. I'm like, I don't know what you do for a living. I am aware of what your dad does for a living, remember, but I mean, you're pushing 30 at this point, and I know you don't got a man like who you're dating paying for this. Like, how the fuck are you on vacation every 3 weeks?
She did though. A
What?
lot of those vacations were paid for by.
Oh yes, I remember that guy. Yeah, all through Instagram. But it's been a fascinating story.
He
It's
never
better
got
than any
never got
TV.
posted though.
Yeah, but like that's
The guy that takes the girl on those expensive vacations, he never gets posted.
But like now that's not there. I just want like it's like every 2 weeks. Like you don't work. Like your parents haven't said anything to you at this point.
Not their business.
I think they're funding it.
Oh, yeah.
Most
Okay.
likely.
Hey, whatever, man.
You got to keep.
But I mean,
up.
look, you
with
at a certain
appearances.
age, your trust is yours.
Yeah.
So Nobunaga became infatuated with Yasuke, and eventually took him from the Jesuits as his own. Since Yasuke knew the language, thanks to his pre-missionary studies, the warlord was constantly picking his brain and came to thoroughly cherish these conversations, and built up a solid relationship fairly quick. He was fascinated with Yasuke.
And I guess Yasuke could probably communicate to you since he had to do the 2 years of study, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they had good conversation.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's a big deal in Japan. I mean, that's a big deal everywhere, right? Like, being able to maintain a conversation allows you to, like, check mood. It allows you to gauge situations better. Like, people talk about, like, oh, I hate small talk, and, like, oh, talking about the weather's stupid. But, that has nothing to do with the weather and everything to do with, like, reading a room and reading a person, right? It's, like, neurodivergent people don't understand that, like, talking about the weather isn't about the weather at all. It's about, like, is this person insane? Like, are they going to be polite when I say something, you know? So, like, that carries weight, especially in a new space.
They can even fucking speak.
Right.
It's kind of like, honestly, when we have guests on, like, the main show podcast, and there's no read on them whatsoever beforehand, and we don't even know who they are, and, like, they'll get asked a question, and, you know, be like, so what do you, what was it like going to Japan, you know? And they'll be like, it was cool. It's a nice country.
Flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
So it's cool. It's a nice country. It's cool. Nice. It's nice. It's like, do you understand where you fucking are right now?
It's like, just talk.
You need to speak.
Yeah, like,
Especially because a lot of times they're the ones that got someone to book them on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm immediately like, I want to fucking murder you with a baseball bat. One of the many we have in this.
Just
studio.
do your press,
Take the
dude.
fucking shotgun from the fucking guitar case over there.
Just
and-
pull the flashbang cord. It's gonna be the last thing I do when I walk out.
the smoke grenade.
Yeah,
Don't you do it.
I'm not doing it.
Don't
That
you
would
do it.
terrify me. I remember the first day
I'll
I
have to
picked.
clean this studio. God damn it!
I remember the day I picked it up. You guys were like, "Don't,
It's live.
don't do it."
Well, you were like, "Oh, what's this? Is this fake?" And
I
like,
thought
"Oh,
it
it's
was a
real and it's
prop.
live. It's live."
Yeah, that's the fun thing about the set here. I don't know what weapons are real and what ones are fake.
Assume
Just
they're
assume they're all
all
real.
No, I know. There's a
working.
ton of toy guns here. Like,
They're very painted. Like
I
they're
know.
like cartoon guns.
I know.
We should do it though, where the guns that look like they're toy guns are real guns,
Mm-hmm.
and we paint the real guns as cartoon guns.
That sounds smart here.
Yeah. In that guitar case, there's a shotgun.
I know.
That is a cartoon gun though. It's painted like an American flag.
Cool.
We need it though.
Yeah.
You never know.
I mean, who
You can
knows
clear
who
out the
comes
room
in.
from the desk.
People just pop in left and right to the studio, and my back's to them, so I have to be able to defend myself in some capacity.
Yeah.
We don't have the gun there though.
We'll put it under the desk. This is coming from a Jesuit documentation. The black man understood little Japanese, and Nobunaga was tired of talking with him. And because he was strong and could do a few tricks, Nobunaga took great pleasure in protecting him and had him roam around the city of Kyoto with an attendant. Some people in the town thought that Nobunaga might make him a lord.
Okay.
So he could do like feats of strength and gymnastics, or
Kind of. At first, it sounds like he was almost Nobunaga's pet.
Yeah.
yeah, it does sound like that. 'Cause
Do
he
tricks.
bought him.
Mm-hmm.
He bought him.
I think it starts as that, as like kind of a novelty or a jester or maybe pet type situation. But I believe it grows into a more meaningful relationship.
I would go
Okay.
less so pet, more so jester, just because like he's paying him directly, and he's keeping an attendant, like you're on the payroll. You're not like.
So no, he was still technically a
can't-
slave at first.
You can't just leave. A lot of the jesters we talk about can't really leave, or if they do leave,
You wouldn't call them a pet, though. They are part of the court.
and loved.
Right. Until they aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another story.
So, like I said, he was technically still a slave at first, working for Nobunaga. But the warlord's fondness grew, and with it came Yasuke's own home, salary, and servants.
Sick.
Yasuke moved to be a Nobunaga's weapon bearer and bodyguard. This was a pretty prestigious role to carry the warlord's like weapons.
That's pretty cool, too.
And then just eventually just took over and was a bodyguard.
Yeah, because like that's kind of like the squire aspect, right? Where it's like you're carrying his weapons for him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yours caddy.
Yeah.
And
you're
a caddy is
a death caddy.
your death caddy.
Yeah.
Your death caddy. But like caddy's it's literally the coolest thing you can be in golf besides a pro golfer, right? Because both those caddies are really fucking good at golf.
Yeah, they're typically very good.
They're very good, and they like if you're. I gotta imagine Scotty Scheffler's caddy is just crushing it right now financially.
Ted Sky, yeah.
Yeah, like
He's made more money in like this year with Scotty than he ever did with Bubba.
yeah, and Bubba's a piece of shit
Well,
too.
Bubba won 2 Masters, but still.
But still, yeah.
Scotty's that good.
I can also imagine caddying for Scotty is a lot more pleasant than caddying for Bubba.
1,000%.
Yeah, Bubba's been voted the least liked guy on the tour a couple times.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He was permitted to eventually dine with Nobunaga, wear traditional battle armor, and was even given a katana blade, which is a huge deal because only one group of people were allowed to carry the katana blade. That was samurai.
So does this beg the question?
Was he a samurai?
What did he get initiated? Did he get a bid?
We don't know. It's never officially documented. But, you know, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, fucks like a duck.
I mean, just because it's a black swan, it's still quacking and walking,
So
baby.
here's my question though. So obviously katana were the samurai swords, but they did have. What did most people fight with in Japan? Couldn't have been the only sword.
No, they're the smaller swords.
Okay,
I'm sure they had.
Blanking on the fucking name.
but honestly, even during the Middle Ages, the main battle was still a spear.
Yeah, because the katana, there's the katana, then there's the tiny one that comes with it. There's like a side.
Why'd you
sword.
ask that question? You're making us look like dickheads now.
This is softcore history
You
for all you SEO listeners
they
out
know
there.
they know off the top.
Yeah.
Your wife said the name.
They're screaming into the fucking car.
No, he's a pet. He's a pet.
There was
Like,
that
yeah.
one listener who came into the studio who told us he had to stop listening because we got our anime weapons wrong. He was like, I just couldn't listen after you called this knife that knife's name. After you called a bone blade a blade of Baldur. Or I don't even know what it was. But I was just like,
It's like,
I would do anything to end this conversation right now.
yeah. I'd prefer to not listen to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know how you felt from what's currently happening to me. I know how you felt.
It's like, dude, shut the fuck
So
up.
this all happens in 1581. Let's fast forward a year later. June 21st, 1582. Nobunaga was at the Haroji Temple in Kyoto with 30 pages and 30 guards,
Holy shit, that's
Including-
a posse.
including Yasuke. Well, dude, he is the guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Yasuke had 30 pages, 30 cards.
No,
Like, okay,
Yasuke was
Yasuke's
with him
in the posse. Yeah.
in the posse. Yeah, he's gonna roll squad deep. It's the dude
yeah.
in Japan right
you
now.
have to. Absolutely.
Now, General Mitsuhei decided working for Nobunaga wasn't really in his best interest anymore.
Traitor
Yeah.
in the palace.
Mm.
Japanese Brutus.
So he gets his own group of men, surrounds the temple. There's no confirmation or reason behind the betrayal, but something power vacuum, something he wanted a bigger role. Violence breaks out, the temple is set ablaze, and ultimately Nobunaga commits seppuku
Really?
before he's captured. He's like, I'm not going to fucking surrender to my general. I'll
Oh, okay.
kill
So
myself.
he realizes he's taking an L,
Mhm.
and is like, I'm getting out of here the old-fashioned way.
I fucking love the seppuku thing, where it's just like
It's too prevalent, dude.
It's so much.
You watch Shogun, and every 5 minutes, someone's trying to kill
Dude,
themselves.
in Shogun, where the guy slips on the rocks and is in the water and is going to stab himself because he's like, I'm not letting the water take me. It's like, holy fuck. Like, come on.
I think is it like, I don't know, maybe you guys know, you in particular, because you are interested in all this shit more than the rest of us. Is it like a
Rob's out on any Japanese
Just
culture.
Japan, cut it
well
off.
Asia, like he does China and all that stuff. Is it like a Valhalla thing where it's like if you die a good death, your whole family's honored, so they don't even fear it, or like I don't know, like
No,
a terrorist?
Valhalla was a golf course that was the host of the PGA Championship.
Oh, right.
Very bad course.
But it's like an honor for you to go to die in the name of like Islam, or to die for your
Right.
you know what I mean?
No, but
like,
Valhalla is supposed to be, I'm probably butchering this, but you die in battle and you go up to this like great dining hall with all the previous warriors, and every day you fight and battle and kill each other, but then you celebrate and have a feast after.
Yeah, it's just like if you were a football player and you died on the field. It's basically just like, you have a nice big party, and then you go kill, and then you party.
with the people you killed.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Honestly,
But
it's not bad.
it sounds like Valhalla, 72 Virgins. It seems like Japan has their own kind of version of it where like you will have a better afterlife for you and your ancestors.
I don't think it
or
has anything to do with afterlife.
It doesn't?
It doesn't
No.
have
Okay.
anything to
Okay.
do
That's
with
what I was
afterlife.
wondering.
No, it is mostly just like
It's honor.
it's honor and code, and they just like put that shit
Well,
at the tippy top of importance for everything.
It's honor in the other cultures too. I just didn't
But
know if afterlife played into it.
I
or
think
not.
it's even more cool because it has nothing to do with the afterlife, right? Like that's
game for love of game.
It's
yeah,
game
they
no
fucking.
reward.
There's a lot of Japanese people during this time when all the Christian missionaries came that would just like laugh at them, like you're so dumb. You believe in a fucking almighty? Like no.
I like that there were other Japanese people who were like, "That sounds so much better than what's going on here, man."
Wait, you mean like you
Yeah.
know who you win with Christianity? Peasants. You
Yes.
know what peasants are? Numbers.
Yeah.
Big numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's
Yeah.
the meek shall inherit the earth.
Right. It's a great
And
message.
then you get one Lord to realize all the peasants love Jesus.
During this though, here's another maybe potential point for Yasuke being a samurai. His last act, Nobunaga's, was to ask for Yasuke to bring his head and sword to his son and heir, making it more than likely that Yasuke was the second for Nobunaga's seppuku.
So he cut off his head.
I didn't realize there was a second part of it.
No, it's like a spotter.
Oh,
So you like dig yourself in, or like you go to the stomach, cut through your fucking intestines, and then you get beheaded.
It's to make it quicker, kind of.
I guess.
Yeah,
I
or
don't
maybe
really know the reason why
start
you
the job
you
and-
stab your. Why don't you just behead yourself?
Oh, I thought it was you
That's
dig in
way
here
harder.
and you go up and over through the heart.
I think you do, but then somebody else is your
And then someone
second and cut your
clocks
head
the
off.
head, yeah.
So I believe
Oh.
Yasuke, if this story is true, was more than likely the person that cut his head off.
I kind of couldn't keep watching fucking Shogun because like that baby gets stabbed up in a bucket.
Yeah, but
It's too much.
my thing is
What about the guy that got boiled alive?
Yeah,
That's
also
better. That's a man.
All I have to say, just hearing about cutting in and carving up and over to the heart, blow my brains out with a gun.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, people are like, it'd be better with knives. Like, fuck that. People that get shot don't realize they get shot sometimes.
A lot of times.
Yeah, people that get stabbed are like, ow,
Yeah.
ow.
Nick Swartzen, one of my favorite stand-up bits ever is Nick Swartzen talking about why it's way worse to get stabbed than shot.
I think every Ask Reddit where people who've been both shot and stabbed, they're like, yeah, dude, getting stabbed was way worse.
Way
Yeah.
fucking worse.
It's a cold blade versus
Yeah.
a hot bullet.
And you
Like,
typically see it penetrate you too.
yeah, it's you have to like comprehend it as it's happening.
I mean, even I've talked about it on the show before when I like stabbed myself the other day trying to open a hot sauce bottle like
Right.
with annoying plastic.
Same thing.
It fucking you feel it immediately. You can feel it all inside of you,
and then it hurts more.
and that was like a millimeter or two.
yeah.
I can't fucking imagine.
Now, Yasuke finally reached Nobunaga's son at a nearby castle, who was in the midst of his own battle with Mitsahei's soldiers. He was also defeated and forced to commit ritual suicide.
So Yamanaga's like, what do I do with this goddamn head?
No, Yasuke is.
Yasuke.
Or Yasuke. It's like, yeah, what? This fucking head.
No, he's he's captured in all the chaos.
Okay.
I don't understand how Yasuke didn't just hold his sword out as far as possible and spin as fast as possible.
I'm just assuming that at some point before the seppuku, he was just bisecting people.
just straight, like equilibrium style, just like boop.
Now,
Yeah.
a lot of like the anime about Yasuke and a lot of the different. I mean, he's in a lot of like pop culture stuff in Japan and even in America here. There's a whole series on Netflix now, and there's gonna be a movie that comes out. He has this like giant fucking stick that he just beats everyone's ass with.
I like that too.
I couldn't find anything about the stick though, like that had any type of,
There's a name
merit
for
to it.
the beaten stick too. Like,
Oh, it's like what Donatello had.
yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
I'll look that up.
It's one of the weapons in the South Park episode.
Japanese fighting stick.
I think it might have been an African fighting stick. I think it's before he got
That's
the.
just racist. It's called a bujutsu
Bujutsu.
or a bow.
Oh,
A
well,
bow is what Donatello had.
Because a lot of the stuff about Yasuke throughout, the fictional versions of him are all that. They're mostly just, made up backstory. Because there's not a whole lot of documentation on this dude.
We make up backstory for people we have nothing but documentation on, like fucking George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Could
the
never
lore,
tell a lie.
the lore.
Yeah.
Lore's part of it's part of our heritage in a weird way, right? Like
George Washington lied all the time. Every time a slave would come to his plantation, he'd say, "Don't worry, your teeth are safe."
But this guy was so big and kind of a brooding force. I like to think he was like a badass.
I think that's just
Probably.
like that's versus the field,
Like
right?
if any, of us, any of us were transported back to people who were all a fucking like 4'8" or something, not hard.
There's nothing worse than like imagine having a big old hog and just sucking at sex. It'd be a waste of a dick.
yeah, it would.
Mm-hmm. So I like to think he was a fucking warrior. He was a fucking
definitely was.
badass.
Yeah.
He could. I'm sure he could like absolutely body people without even trying.
They said he had the strength of 10 men.
I
You don't get that reputation just by looks alone.
I think he could punch people's heads clean off.
Mm-hmm. He's Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
He's Japan's Black Paul Bunyan.
Yeah. He's Black Samurai Jesus.
So Yasuke gets captured in the chaos. And confused as to what to do with him, they weren't sure if he was a samurai or not. So here's kind of a point for the other side of
That
the
he was
argument.
not a samurai.
Because the men that capture him are like, do we let him commit seppuku? Do we murder him? What do we do? So the general decides to dishonor him and rob him of seppuku and sells him back to the Jesuits.
Oh no!
No, I get to live.
Oh no!
Just
not
like-
that.
Yeah, but as a slave.
It's like when
Oh no! Not that.
I remember when like Baptists in my hometown would be like, "Well, you're gonna go to hell if you." It's like, well, here's the thing about belief structures.
Right.
That's an empty threat.
Yeah. Also, like, look, if I was a giant man who had been trained in combat for several years, and I was much stronger and pretty than everyone around me, and pretty smart too, and I was given the option to fucking kill myself or be sent to live with some priests, I think I know which option I would take.
I would play like I didn't want
Yeah.
the one I wanted.
It's a good call.
Not that one, the dishonor, no.
Bro, that's a good
no.
call.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he's only really been in the samurai life for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, he
Oh,
probably didn't
no.
adopt all the traditions
He
or
sounds like
beliefs.
he moves the way he needs to move.
Mhm.
Like he adapts. That's why he's good.
Like, yeah, I think he made out okay.
Yeah.
They're all just like laughing at him as he leaves, and he's like, "Oh,
Oh no.
no."
Oh, no, I have to live.
Please don't.
After this, the giant black, maybe samurai, now Ronin, just kind of disappears from history, even in Jesuit records, because a lot of people speculate he escaped.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of that speculation is that perhaps he went rogue and turned to piracy.
Big pirate.
Why
I love-
not, dude?
I love a big pirate.
So potentially black samurai pirate.
Black Samurai Pirate Jesus. I don't know why I keep saying
Black Samurai Pirate is that's pretty rad. That guy should be on the fucking Mount Rushmore of African heroes.
just badasses in general.
That's
really.
a whole argument about.
Yeah, but if you had to build a continent's go, I mean, you're going all world history.
Yeah.
You're not going to get. I don't think he's going to.
the argument
he's not-
for
he's
the
not
people
gonna
that are
do
upset that black guys representing Japan in the new Assassin's Creed is why don't you just do a African, society, which they could have done with like Shaka Zulu. Or
Yeah.
like-
Oh, for sure.
See, I think Zulu is boring because the Zulus were, to me, pretty fucking inconsequential.
Also,
Like-
the architecture for the game wouldn't be that cool.
No, it'd be
What
just
architecture?
like a
Yeah. If you wanted
open
to
world
go-
savannah.
If you wanted to
It's
go
boring.
sub-Saharan Africa, you'd have to do like the Songhai Empire or something like that, like which was in like literally sub-Saharan, like right below in West Africa mostly. You'd have to do Songhai Empire or man, there's another one I'm blanking on because I'm racist. But
Mali.
Mali, yeah, I think that's it. But either way, like those would be where I would want to go for African. But Songhai is Middle Ages. I don't know when the Mali.
Yeah, Mansa Musa was he was Mali.
Okay, yeah.
I just want Grand Theft Auto Cape Town. Give me
That's
that
fine. But like the Zulu, like honestly, the Zulu, I think get most of their flowers from the fact that they fought the British
Yeah.
and the Dutch,
And
I
did pretty well with
they-
like
yeah, but
less
Like historical impact, sure.
I don't
Yeah.
like they were not they're overrated because they had so much European contact. And so like from a white standpoint of history, the Zulu get more gassed up than they should be. The Songhai Empire is like a probably top 10 most underrated empire in human history because they just were their own thing in Africa. They had contact with Europeans, but it
I
wasn't
still
like,
think it's going to be pretty dope to go through feudal Japan, open world game, and you get to be essentially a fucking berserker giant.
We were talking about this at the soccer game. You were like, how do you be sneaky in
Okay, so they have addressed that. He does not have the ability to blend in, which is good.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
If they tried to pull that bullshit, I'd be like, all right.
the bridge too far.
Yeah. It's like there's
The
nothing
only-
he can hide behind.
Right, the
Like,
only black man in Japan trying to blend in.
everyone's trying to see him. Like
So I believe his character, from what I've heard, does not have that ability.
that's good. I'm glad they added
But
another character.
he's part of the Creed.
What do you mean?
He's part of the assassin.
Allegedly, I don't know. I have
Group.
no idea about the story yet. I'll
Okay.
have to play the game. It comes out in November, so depending
Well-
on when you're listening on this.
Wasn't the American Revolution one? Wasn't that guy Native American? Or
Yeah,
he
it was Connor. Connor was native.
He was half Native or native?
I believe he
Was he native and kidnapped and raised by
Yeah.
whites?
Yeah, that sounds right. I played that in like high school, so it's been a while.
So literally, like almost none of the assassins are white.
Pretty much. People were kind of trying to dunk on the dude that was the Welshman. That was a pirate. They're like, oh, they put a Welshman in the Caribbean. It's like, yeah, that's how pirates work.
That's what.
It made sense.
Yeah.
Or like they try to say Valhalla. They're like, oh, this fucking Nordic dude was in fucking England. Yeah, because the fucking Vikings raided England all the time.
the people
Who
that
was complaining about that?
idiots.
Morons. It's
Idiots.
Just,
Yeah.
both sides of the argument are very,
So
very
who
dumb.
was the one white guy? The Italian?
Dude, and for a while, we didn't consider Italians white.
Yeah. Go to a certain.
But yeah, he got a trilogy, Ezio.
Okay.
And he's the best character. But no, him or Bayek. Bayek's they should have done a trilogy with Bayek and his whore wife.
What?
His wife sucks at the end.
Okay.
Just
Oh.
leaves him
Bitch.
for no reason.
That's shitty.
Kind of.
It's a
Like
mean
our
thing
son,
to do.
Dad. Like, there's no reason for us to be together anymore.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's really hard to reconcile a dead child.
Very difficult.
Yeah. That I feel for anyone that has to go through that. That's
Can't
not
imagine.
shitty. That's just like I get it.
Yeah. I'd be like, hey, if you want to go wander the earth, babe,
You get to kill Caesar at the end,
I get it.
but you don't get to do it as Bayek. You get to be I forget his wife's name, but she's one of the people to stab Caesar.
Ah, bitch. Actually, he deserved it. No one deserved getting stabbed more than Caesar.
Yeah. He's better as a porcupine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleopatra's in the game too. I mean, yeah, typically all these characters that have any historical relevance, they're usually NPCs or people you interact with throughout the games, but this will be the first, real person that is the main character. And I think people are upset for reasons that are just
No, it's because they set a set of rules, and now they're eating each other with those rules.
people just get upset about anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's the same. It's
The game's probably gonna be dope. I don't care how woke it is.
They're now getting upset over things that the people they hate used to get upset about.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like cancel culture like flipped.
Yes. That's
The
all it is.
America's a
because
giant pendulum.
when
But
you
to be
set up-
fair,
when
it's
you-
like already pre-orders and everything are just like astronomical.
Because most people don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we keep putting mics in dumbasses' faces.
Yeah.
I
I actually enjoyed, the term for that?
No.
I really love it. It's called nut picking.
Oh, I love that.
A little play on words.
Yeah.
little play on
Pick the nuts.
But it's fun. It's fun. Like, it is funny to me. It's just, you're just going to, because you just see what they say and you're like, I don't know, that seems like a really irrational, double standardy set of rules to live by that might come back to bite you. It'll never come back to bite us. And then, like, immediately,
It always does.
yeah.
It's like the honor code. Yeah.
Anyway, that's Yasuke. Do you believe he was a samurai?
I believe in magic.
I think it was too quick for him to fully achieve samurai status.
I think he had an elevated status for sure, though,
Mhm.
by carrying the blade.
People say he was a retainer, whatever.
Who cares? I mean, he was definitely
He had
living that life.
status.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he
there
got
was
to carry a katana blade.
there's plenty of times throughout human history, throughout a number of societies, where a high-ranking person who has the ability to confer a title on someone that they just are enamored with, or they're just a crazy, the person with power is crazy, and just like, one Roman emperor named like a horse or something,
Nero.
his successor. Was it Nero? Yeah,
he brought him in. He made him a senator, I believe.
yeah. Okay, whatever. So
it's
it
very
makes-
plausible.
It's
if
extremely plausible that he was just, like,
Nobunaga was like infatuated with this man that he would be like, yeah, you can have that status. Fuck it.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe it.
It's like I make the rules.
I'm on top. I'm kingpin here. Yeah, like I'm gonna do it.
I believe he would. Now, do I believe he did? I don't know what was required by like a normal rich person in Japan to be a samurai. He obviously didn't go through all that. But do I believe he had the title conferred on him in some sort of semi, whatever way? Like semi. Yeah. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, my biggest problem with it is Ubisoft is uncreative. There's like, oh yeah, we'll go with IP.
Mm.
It's like create your own IP, guys. Create your own characters.
You've done it this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got the internet all ablaze about it.
No, that's good.
Mm.
It's good marketing.
Because at some point too, it does get
I know.
repetitive. It's like,
The
oh, what?
games now aren't even $70 or $60. They're like $130 if you pay for the whole package.
It's
$140.
crazy, dude.
They're just trying to charge as much as possible.
There's no
now.
reason for it. There's
And they're
no reason for it.
Trying to get everybody on that subscription basis.
Because, by the way, what are they? I understand that they have to pay for like the labor and all that stuff creating the game, but there's no physical product anymore.
And they turn
Yeah.
over these games so fast, especially Ubisoft and these Assassin's Creed games, that they're not really putting as much effort as they used to. Video games used to be much better.
So it's like,
I mean, look at GTA. Like, it takes them 10 years, but there's a reason why it takes 10 years and, like, billions of dollars.
Yeah, they push the envelope of the console they have too that they're
Mhm.
working on.
where? So you're saying Ubisoft is going like the Marvel route, where the CGI is
They're
getting
just
worse?
churning things out.
Yeah.
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 I hope feudal Japan's not that case. I hope it looks good. I hope it's, not, the worst story.
What would you like to see? What era would you like to see?
It is. It's feudal Japan.
That's the one you wanted.
No, that's, yeah.
No, I mean, like if you could get any era.
It's a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want it to be strictly Japan. You want to have some type of outside presence. So like the Portuguese, the Italians.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they're explaining for why they picked Yasuke as the main character is they want you to play as somebody seeing Japan as an outsider.
Sure.
From their perspective, that's how they're justifying
It's
it.
a nice
That's fine,
little
whatever.
That's a nice explanation.
Mhm.
That's fine.
But
Yeah.
really, what I think we know is that
They wanted clicks.
black dudes love Japan. First off,
Okay, all right. Let's address the fucking elephant in the room. As much as white people appropriate black culture, black people love Japanese culture.
they love anime. Love anime.
Never met a black man who hated Dragon Ball Z.
Growing up, like all the black kids at my grade school loved anime. In high school too, fucking loved Dragon Ball Z and shit like that. So did the white kids. A bunch
Yeah.
of white kids did too. But like Pokemon.
Appropriating
in
the
particular.
fuck out of their culture, though. They'll punch a Japanese kid in the face, but boy, did they want to stay over and watch the cartoon.
They'd rather Kamehameha him.
Yeah,
They'd rather give him a spirit bomb than punch him.
it's just like a sweet. For whatever reason, it's just a thing they became drawn to.
Hey man, it's cool. I think appropriation's a compliment, personally.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, this thing is cool. I'd like to try it too.
Yeah.
Racist.
Yeah. No, fuck that. I mean, hell. Start wearing headdresses again at Coachella. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, it's polite.
It's swinging back. It'll swing back too far, but there's going to be a beautiful middle ground
Yeah.
for this for like a year where it's like everything's great.
It's this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frat boy summer.
Frat boy
Frat
summer.
boy summer,
That's right.
boys. It was Arab Spring. Now it's frat boy summer.
I don't know if you noticed, I started rocking croquis again,
Look
just
at
because
you.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to put the Costas in there to,
Yeah, I got to get some Costas.
especially now that you're working the water.
I know. I have a pair of bust-ass Costas I got to get repaired, but that's for another time.
Anyway, that's the episode. That's Yasuke. Who is today's Hitler? It's not really one.
Jesuits.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I guess the Portuguese that enslaved Yasuke to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, Portuguese, always a good one. You could also say, I don't know.
Just fake
I'm
outrage.
going to say anyone that kicks down a door to see somebody is Hitler.
People,
Yeah.
anybody that crushed another human being.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
see a black guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's them.
that's
Them.
today's Hitler. Human crush crowds are today's Hitler.
What'd you
Yeah.
learn today?
So much, actually.
I learned that it's definitely better to be a slave than to stick a fucking knife into your belly and drag it up through your body until it gets to your heart and then someone cuts your head off. Especially after you've been trained specifically to be able to escape and fight.
I think I learned that bureaucracy has been around, just red tape.
Yeah.
It's been around forever. There's always forms you got to file, man.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot
Yeah, that's what I learned. I learned I probably wouldn't murder that much because
Yeah.
of
the amount of
all the
paperwork.
things that it comes with.
Yeah.
None of them consequences. Just
The consequence is the
very
paperwork.
just inconveniences, really.
Right.
Yeah. If you want someone to not do something, make it inconvenient.
Inconvenience them.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's like click-through rate, right? Every extra click loses 50% of your customers or whatever.
yeah.
And all they have to do is just go,
And then I got an additional question for today's episode. Do you think Yasuke put up Wilt Chamberlain numbers?
Probably not.
you
how
mean
much
average?
Do you think, how much do you think he fucked?
Probably, like people. Okay. Pros or just randos?
He had like servants, dude.
I don't care.
Whores. It don't matter.
Okay. Because
Because they have their little tea houses.
then
They had
probably
whore
a lot.
houses.
Then probably a lot.
And I think just the nature of him being so unique, I bet women came up.
How
to him.
long was he
It's a no.
in the court?
It was like about 15 months.
Okay. Because he was there for 2 years, but he was only the dude's like.
And he was getting
BF
scrubbed so much.
BF. Do we count that? Do we?
Yeah.
All right. I think he was probably averaging 20 a month.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But so Wilt claims 10,000
In a
over his
lifetime.
lifetime.
That's insane.
So just we got to do rate stats then.
What was Will counting too? What was Wilt counting?
I believe Wilt. I've read,
10,000 individual women.
I've read Wilt's biography
Is he
or
counting-
autobiography.
Is he going full penny or is he going like
Oh, yeah.
really?
But
Okay.
so he was a globetrotter and he did world tours.
So if you
He
let's
also
say-
played pro basketball before he went to Kansas under
say,
an alias.
let's say
That's
you're
right.
sexually active for 50 years, 15 to 65. Okay, how many women did Wilt sleep with? 100,000,
10,000.
10,000. Okay, great, perfect.
It was either 10 or 20. I think let's go with 10.
Okay, there's in those 50 years, there's 18,250 days.
Oh, so it's not even one a day.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Okay, it might have been 20,000. So he
That's
did
believable too, though. With that
one
number,
a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Ish.
especially like hey,
One
you
and a
could-
half, 2 a day.
You could probably knock out like
Wilt's 20,000.
Wilt's 20, he said.
Yeah, it's 20. So 20,000 for Wilt.
it-
So
but that's easy with 18,000 whatever days because like you could knock out like 100 probably in like 2 nights in L.A.
So let's say
Orgies?
1.5 a day. So could Yasuke pull out 1.5 a day?
you could,
2?
you could.
Because yeah, no,
But I
we'll
don't-
count orgies. So it's
But
like
what's-
there's 4 people that he's having sex with. He counts one session.
Here's the big.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, is that like who had the bigger pool of available women?
Wilt Chamberlain.
I don't know.
I would have to say Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain easily because
More
maybe
traveled.
maybe Yasuke, he's not going to bang a peasant. Or maybe he gets to bang, and by bang, I
Best
mean
of both worlds for
non-consensually have
Yasuke.
sex with a lot of women. So, I mean, if Yasuke is doing samurai stuff, he could be going like 8 a day. But do you want to count that?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Rape.
Mm.
I'm sure if they were allowed to legally murder people,
In lower classes.
then what do you think they were also allowed to do?
I don't know. He had humble beginnings, so maybe he felt for the working class.
You know, sometimes the greatest zealot is a convert.
I know.
And the greatest
It's
tyrant
usually
is someone who
the
came from
case.
nothing. Yeah.
But all right, that's fair. I would say he rate stats. I think he could match Wilt.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously not counting. He didn't hit it counting. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's only there for 15 months, really, under the Nobunaga. So anyway, Nobunaga apparently too was like, it was him getting murked was in the right.
I believe it.
Apparently, he unified Japan, but he's a bad dude.
Yeah, people that unify a country usually start taking over
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, getting a little loose with their power.
Anyway, that's Yasuke. Leave a review in our Apple ratings. 5 stars, please, and thank you if you can. Leave a review and say if you think Yasuke was a fucking samurai. I don't care.
Yeah.
Or say good things about Jake on his way out.
We got another week for that.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our Patreon again, patreon.com/softcorehistory. $5. And you get so much content. We have over 2 years of evergreen content at this point. Hours, days, weeks that you can just spend listening to our show.
Everything.
That's nowhere else. We don't put the Patreon episodes anywhere else.
It's all here. I mean, the amount of content at this point, the $5 is a freaking bargain.
If you like the show, subscribe on YouTube as well. Leave it on for the dogs. That's all we ask.
Always leave it on for the dogs.
And yeah, thanks for joining in. We love you guys. If it's your first time listening, hopefully you come back. For Jake Goldman, Rob Fox, I'm Dan Regester, and you just got soft served.